can I talk about binders for a little bit? Because this is an
Oh,
interesting
absolutely.
piece, right? You
Yeah.
had a mildly positive mold test with no real big source of mold exposure, right? But I had come into this case knowing that mold toxicity, I've just seen people move into a moldy house and get CIU, they move somewhere else and it settles down, right? I saw again and again, if I treat the mold, people tend to get better. And you followed that path to an extent. I got you on binders, right? And from the beginning, when we did a mold test to about I don't think it was 6 or 9 months later when we repeated, your mold toxins went down,
Right.
right? But if we went too high on the binders, you would get worse.
Yes.
And eventually, when we got the toxins down, not all the way gone, but down, and we took the binders away, what happened?
Oh, I ended up feeling like a new person from that point on.
Yes, because treatments that are helpful in the beginning aren't always helpful in the end.
Right.
And
And you had warned me about that, and you were really concerned, I remember early on, about kind of, if you will, our throttle control of binders, really asking me to pay attention and check in with myself. And we got to see exactly why, because come like January of 23 or wherever around it
yeah,
was, we had gone too hard, too
yep.
fast. And as soon as I started backing off, and yeah, you're
You just took
absolutely
off
right.
your
Yeah,
symptoms. I think you sent me a message or an email, but I have a quotation where you're like, "Oh my god, I went down the binders and I'm back." You're like, "I'm
turned
feeling
a
so good."
corner. Yeah,
Yeah,
I turned a
it took
corner.
another level up. And
Yeah,
so it's just so important. Even though mold causes CIU, it does not mean that the treatment is max binders, right? We got to respect the patient. And the thing about binders is, yes, do they bind ochratoxin and trichothecene and gliotoxin? Of course, yes, they do. And slowly they can bring those down. But they also bind a lot of other things, like well, polysaccharides, I think toxins, they can accumulate in the gut, metals, right? And so, although we use it kind of in a mold centric way, and for a lot of my patients and a lot of patients that come see me are kind of like mold binders, they're doing more than that. And so, they may be doing things under the surface that may just not be appropriate for everybody. So, it's just another example of why we want to just treat the patient and not the theory.